Oh, to the people of YouTube, welcome back. We've got the big gun here. What is it? Probably something to do with the Horus Heresy. Let's find out. Oh, it's these guys. And the robot. Muster your... however you say that word. Terracos? Something Latin. Big old tank, alright. Lehman Russ strike tank. Very, very cool. Never a heavy sentinel, chicken walker, laser rifle, alright. Tactical command, alright. The end and something, the Malcador heavy tank. I bet this isn't plastic now, but all these guys are. Very, very cool. The Space Marines don't fight alone. Okay. Very, very cool. As you can see there, oh, I was too slow. But it looks like it comes in a big pack like the other two before it.
Humanity's finest mortal troops, the Solar Auxilia, and some all-new plastic kits. A big release for this as well, Eddie.
This is an absolutely enormous release
massive.
of plastic kits for the Horus Heresy. This
Yay.
is the largest release of plastic kits we've seen since the launch of the new edition of the Horus Heresy with all the Space Marine stuff, and almost the entirety of the Solar Auxilia range that you could possibly want is released almost immediately as a huge wave of plastics, and it's very, very cool. You can have a look at some of those on screen right now, and let's dive into some of these miniatures because they are phenomenally cool.
Great.
Very deep.
Oh, some of the guys got cut off. Sorry about that shit. But yeah, let's take a look at these guys because these guys are interesting. You got some duplicates there, just in different poses. I do like their helmets. Just taking a quick glance at them, chat, so you can too. Oh, I guess that guy's got a little radio. Looks like they got little generators and lights on their shoulders. There's the little commander guy right there. He's got the little fluff on his head. That way you know to shoot him first. Another standard bearer. Very, very neat. I wonder if these guys come with other weapons and things. These guys do look neat.
Detailed and far easier
to
put together as a force and collect as an army than they were previously when they were available in resin. The team have done a great job of updating some already very cool resin designs into plastic, and in the mix they've added in loads of options and customizability and different.
Yay, that's what I was hoping for, because it would have sucked if all these guys were not customizable. Because a lot of them are just like in the same pose. See, you got that guy there and that guy there. They're the same pose. And that guy there and... oh, I mean, a little bit different. But still kind of same pose. So...
different ways that you can put these together. So if we kick off with the las rifle section, these are your basic troopers for the Solar Auxilia. And the Solar Auxilia have an interesting place in the Horus Heresy because against the Space Marine, they are relatively outmatched, but the Space Marines alone are not able to kind of conquer the entire galaxy. So when the Emperor set out on his Great Crusade, he identified the fact that even though you've got hundreds of thousands of Space Marines, the galaxy is a very, very big place. So you need some Auxilia to go with them, you need some backup. So Solar Auxilia literally is Auxilia from the solar system. That's where the name comes from. So they were attached on to the Space Marine forces to give them extra manpower. But as the Crusade evolved, the Solar Auxilia sort of became a byproduct for a byword for elite mortal troops. So other than the Space Marines, they are seen as the most competent troops in the armies of mankind. So in the wider Imperial army, the Solar Auxilia are kind of looked upon as these are the best that a mortal can get without being elevated to the status of kind of post-human in some way, shape or form, usually Space Marine. They are given the best weapons that the Imperium can muster en masse. So there are millions of these guys out spread across the Great Crusade, and lots of regiments in the wake of the Great Crusade have kind of modelled themselves upon the Solar Auxilia as well. So every legion is backed up by hosts of troops that look like these, as well as there being plenty of expeditionary and crusade forces that are also backed up with loads of Solar Auxilia troops. And then when Horus turned against the Emperor, about half of the Solar Auxilia, just like the Space Marines, fell with him and decided to kind of back his play to be the new Emperor of mankind. So you can play these either as loyalist or as traitor.
I don't think they really had a choice. I mean, there may have been more of them, but up against the Space Marines, they may have decided it would be better to tag along instead of get slaughtered and butchered.
The las rifle section here represents your basic troopers. They have got las guns and bayonets. The bayonets look particularly ferocious. You can see those on a few of those there. They look like they would make a mess of someone.
Yeah.
They,
Be careful with those.
but up against a Space Marine, you will need a lot of these guys in your force. So if you are looking to build an army of these for the Horus Heresy and you want to go infantry heavy, you can put an awful lot of Solar Auxilia las sections into your army. The rules for these already exist, so you can already find them in some of the books that accompanied the release of the...
So they want you to buy lots and lots of these. Oh, say goodbye to your bank account. Say goodbye to some of your organs if you really like these guys.
The Age of Darkness
box
set.
Expensive.
But the key thing really is that up to this point they were available in resin, which was it's a less useful material to work with than plastic. It takes a bit longer to put your army together. It's more expensive. These are going to mean that you can reasonably build entire armies of Solar Auxilia if you want to, which is very cool. Loads of options in there as well. I'm sure you guys are already taken a look. The Sergeant is really cool. He's got power fists and plasma pistols and volkites and there's kind of banners and stuff in there as well. But this is, again, arguably the least exciting of all the kits that's on the way. There's loads of cool upgrades and things for them as well. This is the Tactical Command section. So you can see in the mix there you've got Vox, you've got kind of company banners and things like that. You've got some power weapons, plasma pistols. So these are relatively well equipped by human standards, right? So like, and it's just good, right? Because they have to go up against things like Space Marines. So you can imagine these guys having to hold the line against things like charging World Eaters and stuff like that.
No, that's not going to end well.
You're going to lose a few, but through weight of numbers and through grit and steel, they might just see it to the other side of the battle. And there's something about them that you kind of want to root for because they are closer to human, certainly, than the Space Marines and things they go up against.
Yeah.
There are a lot of vehicles on the way for...
This thing is going to get turned into an orc vehicle very, very quickly. Is going to get kit bashed to the sun and back. All right. It's got lots of DACA. It's got insane amount of different weapon variants. It's even got...
for these guys. So this is the Ethon Heavy Sentinel, and you can see there that it comes with loads of weapon options. So you've got a range of different missiles you can put on the side of it. You've also got a range of different main cannons you can put on there as well. Loads of choices, multi-lasers, heavy flamers, melter. There's a Volkite in there as well, which is my personal favorite. Nice. Basically, anytime you can put Volkite on something, you're going to choose Volkite. It's just the best. It's not technically the best in game terms. It's just my favorite because I like to imagine the noise it makes and the mess it makes of the enemy units when they shoot. And this is sort of a forerunner of the Sentinel designs that you see in Warhammer 40,000. It's much more sort of industrial looking. These would have been mass produced in their thousands and sent out alongside the Solar Auxilia forces, allowing them some kind of close range support as they kind of wade off into the Great Crusade. Certainly not a match for something like a Dreadnought, but again, much like the troops underneath it, would be outnumbering things like Space Marine Dreadnoughts in a firefight. So they're hoping that your weight of number again is going to win out the fight. Lots of lovely little touches in there that are very reminiscent of some of the later Sentinel designs as well. Nodding to that idea that lots of the things that you see during the Horus Heresy are the origin of some of the things that we know and are very familiar with in Warhammer 40,000. There are loads of tanks on the way.
Nice.
Probably the most common amongst them, the Dracosian Transport. Unlike the Rhinos of the Space Marines, the Dracosian does a few more things for you, so you could pack a lot of...
So you've got a flame weapon there. And some heavy Shootataka weapon there. You can take this guy on his register, how can I take your order today? And then, he blows you up with some missiles, shoots you with that, then runs you over.
Troops into this, and because it also has to kind of function as a mobile fire base, it does add quite a lot to your army. Loads of options in the mix there as well. So the pintle mounted, you can either have heavy flamers, you can have multi-lasers, but the main reason you bring this guy along is that big demolisher cannon on the front, right? So
absolutely.
Nice big siege-breaking demolisher cannon to even the odds if your little troopers need to go up against a big unit of Space Marines. Always helpful if 3 or 4 of them have been blown to bits before your plucky troops have to bayonet charge into a unit of Blood Angels or something. There's a new Leman Russ on the way. So this is a Heresy era Leman Russ, very reminiscent of the Leman Russes that you'll see in Warhammer 40,000. There's absolutely nothing stopping you as well if you decide you wanted to kind of port a few of these or use some of the bits into your Warhammer 40,000 force. But the weapons and loadout and the crew has been designed specifically with the idea that this works alongside your Solar Auxilia force. And you've got all of the different weapon options available to you. So the Leman Russ strike tank comes with the Vanquisher. You've got battle cannon, twin autocannon, and twin las cannon, and a variety of different pintle mounted options as well, with things like hunter killer missiles and heavy flamers and stuff. You've also got a pretty brutal looking dozer blade and your kind of forward las cannon on the front there as well. And again, it looks a little bit more maybe industrial, maybe kind of mass produced.
Something I think that they need to do, and this is just me, is they need to make something and call it the Killdozer. You need to pay homage to that wonderful machine that was built. If you don't know what the Killdozer is, I highly suggest you look it up. Basically, people can only be pushed so far by assholes before they go and they vent out their frustrations.
Than some of the later Leman Russes. And again, this thing would have been rolled out in its thousands as the kind of workhorse tank of the Imperial Army. So whereas in Warhammer 40,000, you certainly...
What does this little ducktail do, I wonder? What does that do? Is that for this? Is it like a mechanism for this? So they can push that out or in, maybe?
You see squadrons of these. In the time of the Horus Heresy, you would have had whole battlefields full of these tanks rolling forward. Battles like Talon and things like that, where you would have had entire companies of these in the hundreds rolling across the kind of enormous, kind of apocalyptic-sized battlefields of the Horus Heresy. We've seen some of that in Legions Imperialis, of course, where you can kind of actually have hundreds of these on the battlefield. But there is something cool about having the bigger tank as well, and still putting a lot of them on the battlefield. And all of that stuff we've just seen comes together in the Solar Auxilia battle group. So this is very much like the kind of army boxes we've seen for Age of Darkness and things like that. And all comes together. If you want to kind of kickstart a Solar Auxilia battle group, you can pick up this and it gives you a good starting point. It's certainly not a full army because
they purposely did that, chat, so you'd have to buy multiple of these. In the, they want your money. They want your money. I don't blame them. Warhammer is a very interesting setting. I like GW. I like their games. I don't like some of the stuff that they do, like jacking up prices and everything, but I do like the lore behind the game. It's very interesting. It's very cool.
Because, as we were saying, the Solar Auxilia, you can have an awful lot of them, right? So you can have hundreds of troops on the battlefield if you want, but certainly gives you a very good starting point. And much like lots of other things in the Horus Heresy, you can ally these into your forces as well. So if you've got a Space Marine force, you can quite reasonably decide to kind of bolt a few of these Auxilia on to it. But there is something fun about just having lots of mortal troops.
Yeah.
But that's not all. There is more. There's more on the way for the Solar Auxilia. So those of you who are very familiar with the Horus Heresy rules will know that the Leman Russ has got more options than that kit. We couldn't quite pack every single weapon option onto the single frame, so there is an alternate version as well, which is the assault tank. And this one, generally speaking, is the kind of short range but more brutal version of the Leman Russ.
So
and the main difference really is the main battle cannon and some of the different options you get for the pintle mount. So Demolisher, which is your kind of classic close-range siege weapon. You've got a big plasma cannon, and you've got a Volkite cannon in there as well, which is obviously what I'm going to go with. It's going to be the Volkite, right? So this is a devastating short-range weapon version of the Lehman Russ, and interchangeable as well with the other one too, so you can kind of mix the kits together if you wanted to.
I really do like the guy on the top. Ooh,
the Velatari Storm section is a really fun addition as well. These are the elite, kind of more heavily armored version of the Solar Auxilia.
I don't know why, but these guys kind of, with their helmets, kind of give me the Big Brother vibe from BioShock.
The unit composition you can see on the screen there is fully kitted out with Volkite. So this is your kind of death-rating anti-infantry version. So an awful lot of firepower coming out of that squad, so you can imagine squads of 10 and 20 of these piling out of Dracosians and kind of unleashing a huge amount of firepower into things, and you do need a lot of firepower to take down the things they have to go up against, so you probably want a few of these in the mix. Worth noting about this unit, you can also kit them out with axes, which gives you a little bit of close combat punch into the mix as well. There is something endearing, I suppose, about a human that has been given like a big heavy suit of armor, and then they're looking across the battlefield at these 7 or 8 foot tall superhuman warriors they need to go up against, and then their commander hands them an axe and goes, "Can I have a gun?" He's like, "No, you get an axe. Have a great time." It's quite a good axe, you know. It's powered and all the rest of it. You can chop through stuff. But you've got to respect that, I think, in a trooper, if they're willing to go toe-to-toe with a Space Marine armed with only a sturdy, powered axe. That's pretty good. But again, a really lovely, flexible kit. Lots of interchangeability between some of these kits as well, so things like arms and heads and back banners and stuff like that, you can swap and change between them, much like you can with the Legion kit for the Space Marines, where you can kind of swap and change between lots of those armor marks.
Very nice.
And then last up,
the Malkador.
One of the bigger hitters for the Solar Auxilia, the Malkador heavy tank. So
I like how all the tanks have this guy up there. I really like that. He's taking in some mortars and he's saying "screw you," and then he's shooting people. Got some heavy bolters in there, very nice. You guys, extra. I believe that is the fuel tank. Very, very nice. Very bad if you get shot there, but
this is a kind of one-up on your Lehman Russ with even more firepower. You've got loads of options on this for different things, but this is designed to go toe-to-toe with things like the Spartan tanks and Land Raiders and the kind of slightly larger tanks. And again, you can have quite a lot of these in your force, and you can kit it out to do basically whatever your army isn't very good at. You can go, I need more anti-infantry, I need more anti-tank, I need more...
So you can really kit this thing out with a bunch of different... las cannon, big bada boom. I don't know what all of these weapons are. Like, I don't know what that is. That's a las cannon. That's a heavy flamer. That's an auto gun, and I just don't know what that is. It's got to be something heavy artillery related.
Or things that can take down monsters. Whatever is missing in your force, you can add into this with a huge variety of different weaponry. So you've got battle cannons and las cannons and demolisher cannons and heavy flamers and different sponson options for either close range anti-infantry or longer range anti-tank support. Whatever you need, basically, the Malkador can kind of fill that gap in your army. And again, you can quite happily fit 2 or 3 of these into your force if you wanted to go kind of tank heavy and go lean in that direction. So loads of really good stuff on the way, and all of that stuff is on its way very soon.
Piece of art right there,
and it looks phenomenal as well.
It's
a really cool army.
Yes, it really does.
Fantastic. Oh, lovely stuff.
So there we go.
Some amazing releases there. Any highlights for you, Eddie?
I'm excited about Callus and Toll, I think, actually.
Yeah,
I like
those
two. I'm looking.
Alrighty. I think that is the end of the stream, fellas. See if they... Yeah, it's just them wrapping it up. Yep, alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dreadbread, and that was the Las Vegas Open 2024. I'm sorry I've had so many issues with the stream. It just did not like me tonight, which is very sad. But yeah, I've got lots of content coming. I uploaded Power World stuff today. I played that. I've been having fun with it. It's a game I want to get the boys into. I really do, because the more people when you have that in that game, it's gonna be really great. It's gonna be really good. I've got some Honkai Star Rail stuff coming too. So along with this is going to be chopped up and thrown out to on the Yuba tubes, and I'm having a really good time. I hope you guys and ladies had a good time too. The stream just had its ups and downs and all arounds, but everything was good. And I will see you people all later. In the pinned comment is where you can find me. I have a Twitter, obviously a Twitch. I do have a YouTube channel. I do have a Rumble channel. The Rumble, though, it hasn't been doing what it's supposed to be doing. The Rumble was a backup channel after some buttheads tried to full strike my channel. But thankfully, somebody over at YouTube went through my channel, so I did nothing wrong and reinstated me. So that's all good. That's all really great. And I will see you, ladies and gentlemen, later. Have a good one. Bye bye. And I'll see you later.